What's up, nerds? Welcome back to Morphin March. Now that we've talked about some of the stuff behind the scenes, let's talk about what happens on camera. This series is such a product of its time, and I can't help but appreciate it for its age, even in the areas that are pretty crusty by today's standards. A lot of people say that if you want to find a series to start with as your first Power Rangers experience, it should be this one. Personally, I disagree with that. I feel like the format has evolved too much since then. But I can't deny that this is a show all Power Ranger fans should watch. That being said, this is 4 seasons long, and I can't talk about every single episode without boring you all to tears and getting copyright struck by YouTube. So for this video, we'll just be focusing on noteworthy episodes of Season 1. Aside from one particular line, even the first episode isn't all that attention-grabbing to me beyond it simply introducing characters. The thing that sticks out most to me when I watch it is right at the beginning when Rita comes out of the space dumpster and tells the astronauts,
"Don't leave! You'll miss my coming out party!"
I can't help but at least chuckle when I hear this. Rita, that's not what that means anymore. Beyond that, the next thing that catches my attention is a moment in episode 9 when Rita captures Trini's Mr. Ticklesneezer doll and turn it into a monster. Listen, if I wasn't joking about Bubblesworth's name, why would I be joking about Mr. Ticklesneezer's name? This is something people point out all the time. Babu is right there, in her room. She's fast asleep. Rather than finish her immediately and be done with it, he takes a doll off her dresser. It's just weird. One episode I do honestly like watching is episode 13, Peace, Love, and Woe, where the Rangers battle a monster named Madame Woe. It's a really good Billy-centric episode that gives him multiple moments to stand out in some great ways. As much as I like it though, the story writing isn't really all that great until you're watching the multi-parters. And obviously, the first multi-parter is the 5-part episode Green with Evil. This episode hardly needs an explanation, as it's the introduction to Tommy Oliver. Rita kidnaps him after seeing how well he fought against Jason in the Martial Arts Expo, and brainwashes him into being her loyal warrior, as she grants him the power of the Green Ranger. Anyways, the first thing he does as the Green Ranger is infiltrate the command center and sabotage everything. He infects Alpha with a virus, destroys the command center's computers to the point where Zordon disappears. This is such a genius move on Rita's part. Since only someone with a power coin can enter the command center, Rita's never had the means of attacking the Rangers' home base before. But with Tommy, she was able to effortlessly hit them at their most vulnerable. Then, while battling Goldar and the Megazord, Tommy sneaks into the cockpit and ambushes them. Again, what a brilliant move. The Rangers are almost always safe inside the Megazord regardless of generation, so exploiting that sense of security was fantastic. Once Tommy throws them out of the Megazord, it's a slaughter. He's tearing them apart one by one. None of them can stop him. Ultimately, they are forced to retreat. It goes on to have Jason kidnapped and forced into a fight with Goldar without his Morpher, then Green Ranger afterwards. The Rangers managed to get him out safely, but another second and he'd have been skewered. After that, Rita plays her ace. She gigantifies Goldar and newcomer Scorpina to battle the Rangers in their Megazord. As the fight goes on, Rita uses her magic to create a solar eclipse. And just like the Firebenders, the Megazord loses its power during a solar eclipse, because it runs on solar energy. Then, Rita gigantifies the Green Ranger, and the fight is basically over. The Rangers get ejected from their Zords as they all fall into a lava-filled crevice in the earth, seemingly destroying them for good. Lucky for them, this is when the tables turn. Working together, they're able to repair the command center and re-establish a link to Zordon. After which, they learn that Tommy is the Green Ranger, and that the only way to free him from Rita's control is to destroy the Sword of Darkness that he possesses. The Megazord gets put up against the newly revealed Dragonzord. Once Megazord has Dragonzord pinned, Jason faces Tommy in one final showdown. It's a fierce fight, but Jason ultimately comes out on top. He destroys the Sword of Darkness in a very Star Trek-y way, and the evil power controlling the Green Ranger is gone. After a brief motivational speech, Tommy agrees to use his Green Ranger powers for the forces of good, meaning we never have to worry about evil Tommy ever again. After that, it's a few episodes before the next two-parter, Island of Illusion. Now to me, this feels like a GT scenario. It puts forward a great concept and does not nail the delivery at all. After a battle with the monster Mutitus and the whatever he is Lokar, the Rangers all get teleported to Rita's illusionary island. There, they each become faced with their greatest fears or insecurities, and if they give in to those fears, then they disappear forever. It's thanks to a man named Quagmire that they were able to remember their inner strength and conquer the challenges of the island. Now, who and what Quagmire isn't something that ever gets elaborated on. One can assume Rita trapped him there before, but there's no hard evidence for or against it. Facing their worst fears sounds like a great way to create character development, but here's the problem with that. Zack's fear is a giant snake, and while I absolutely agree that being directly in front of a massive python is terrifying, this is a man who's fought sphinxes, skeletons, terror toads, an amalgamation of eyes, and an evil genie, just to name a few. A normal python just doesn't feel scary compared to all of that. And he beats this fear by remembering his battle against the Black Knight. It sounds like it makes sense, but when you stop to think about it, it goes back to what I just said. A python is nothing compared to the enemies he's fought. Kimberly is next, and she sees Bulk and Skull acting like literal angels, and this causes Kimberly to doubt if Rita can even be stopped.
If Rita can make them act like that, she can make anything happen.
She's demolecularizing.
Quagmire, quick!
And she beats this by remembering when she used her power bow to beat the Terror Toad. That's nice and all, but how do these things correlate? It doesn't make any sense to me. Next up was Tommy, and I like the guy, but this was the dumbest of the group. He started seeing the other Rangers as putties and starts fighting them. He beats this by remembering the time he had to do this exact same thing, but for real. What makes this so dumb is that from Tommy's perspective, he's fighting 5 putties who aren't even really fighting back at all, whereas usually the Rangers fight putties within the double digits. Now, true, they fight as a group, meaning the amount that each Ranger has to fight is less than the whole group, but my point is, Tommy could reasonably handle about 8 to 10 putties by himself, and he's starting to doubt himself with only 5? I'm sorry, but I just don't think so. Trini actually ends up targeting herself by being terrified of what the island could show her, but she conquers this fear by remembering when she overcame her fear of heights to rescue Billy. This one I like, because it actually makes sense. Trini's letting her own fears get to her, so she escapes it by remembering how she conquered her fears in the past. I actually did a good job with her. Billy falls victim next, as his mind, which is rooted deep in science, fails to rationalize everything they've experienced on the island. He loses faith in his intelligence, but he defeats this insecurity by recalling when he defeated Madame Woe, who trapped him and the other Rangers in a nightmare realm. He used his mind to figure out Madame Woe's weakness and exploit it. This is another good one. It shows Billy that, even in the face of the supernatural, he can still use his scientific brain to think his way out of any problem. Lastly is Jason, who is targeted by Goldar directly. He tells Jason that if he was a real leader, then he'd have gotten him and his friends out of there by now. Jason believes this and sees an illusion of the other Rangers vanishing before his eyes as they call out for help. He starts to give in to despair, but remembering his battle with King Sphinx and how he got through that battle by relying on his friends to back him up, and reminding him just how strong they are when they work as a team. This is another good one, but 3 out of 6, that's still a failing grade, pal. Now that all of their fears have been conquered, they regain their means of escape and leave the island, re-engage Mutitus and Lokar, and after that, Megazord, Explosion, Victory. All in all, an okay multi-episode event that could have been better, but could have been worse. A few episodes later, and it's time for the Green Candle. This episode is about Rita using a magic green candle to destroy the Green Ranger powers. Now, for the sake of keeping this video from getting too long, I'm gonna keep this and the remaining subjects a bit more brief. So it all starts with Rita kidnapping Tommy and using a Cyclops to disguise itself as the Dragon Zord to attack the city. The Rangers fight back long enough for Tommy to escape and help them turn the tide of the battle. The Cyclops retreats and Jason volunteers to go after the Green Candle to try and save Tommy's life because while Tommy is linked to the Green Power Coin, if it dies, so does he. Jason gets into the Dark Dimension and has to fight his way through Goldar, but the other Rangers are stuck protecting the machine while the city is under attack. Because of this, Jason is forced to abandon the candle and save the city. With no way to stop the candle from going out, Tommy transfers what's left of his Dragon Ranger powers to Jason, granting him the Dragon Shield and Dragon Dagger, allowing them to call on Dragon Zord should they ever need it. Tommy would leave the show for a while, but as we all know, he won't be gone for long. The next two-parter is Doomsday, and you can kind of tell this was meant to be a series finale episode with how the story handles itself. The mayor of Angel Grove is hosting an event called Power Ranger Day, a celebration for all the Rangers have done to protect Angel Grove and the world. However, not one to miss an opportunity to get a headache, Rita plants her Bandora Palace on Earth and kidnaps all the people at the event and unleashes a new threat, the War Zord known as Cyclopsis, piloted by Goldar. Naturally, the Rangers respond by attacking with the Megazord, but Cyclopsis is able to easily overpower them. Even when the Rangers call in Dragon Zord, it doesn't do much to change their chances. Ultimately, they need Titanus to bail them out and defeat Cyclopsis. But it's not all good news, because Rita traps Titanus under the Earth, seemingly destroying it. Then, Rita invokes a spell to summon Lokar once again in order to rebuild Cyclopsis. But this time, without Titanus to give them the edge, Power Rangers are at their biggest disadvantage yet. Despite this, the Rangers take the risk and use their Zords, which are still only at half power mind you, to fight Cyclopsis to try and save the people of Angel Grove. As a result of the battle, Cyclopsis slices off one of the Megazord's arms and the Dragon Zord's tail. Between Cyclopsis and Lokar, the Zords are just powerless and get attacked by Rita, the Zords disassembling themselves piece by piece. The Rangers manage to get out in time, but they're stranded with no Zords. Fortunately, Billy reveals that the Zords are fine, transporting back to base to recharge. But their communications are jammed. Billy tries to re-establish their comms, but Goldar ambushes them, forcing the other Rangers to hold him off as long as they can. One thing I have to critique is that there's no actual fight. Just when there might be one, Billy gets everything fixed and they teleport out. I'm not gonna call it bad, given that they have to work off the footage they have available for the most part, but it's still kinda a letdown that we don't see them struggle to fight Goldar off. I tried not to do this, I really did, but I just could not help comparing this scene to a similar one in Wild Force. Morphers and Zords frozen, backs to the wall, and the Rangers fight anyways, knowing they can't win. Like I said, I tried not to compare the two scenes because that's not fair to Mighty Morphin. But my very strong personal bias towards Wild Force made it near impossible. At this point, the entire tide of battle shifts. The Zords are recharged. Titanus is free because he has the power of plot convenience, I guess. And they learn that if they constantly rotate their formations, Cyclopsis won't be able to keep up and be weakened as a result. I think you know how this goes from here. Megazord, explosion, victory. The Rangers save the day, the people are free, Rita retreats back to the moon, and the Power Ranger Day continues without a hitch. What makes this feel like a finale is, Tommy makes an appearance at the tail end of the Power Ranger Day celebration, and afterwards, Zordon gives them a choice to remain as Power Rangers or go back to their ordinary lives. Naturally, the team chooses to remain as the Power Rangers to continue protecting the Earth from the likes of Rita and anyone else who may threaten the Beast. I can't help but wish that this actually was the season finale, because all the episodes between these multi-parters are so boring. The scripting process was really preachy back then, and it doesn't really deliver all that well these days, if it ever did at all. One really good concept that was in a non-multi-part episode was episode 45, Crystal of Nightmares, where Goldar uses the titular item to destroy the Rangers' self-confidence. Seeing the Rangers get so freaked out is honestly really interesting and makes you wonder how they're going to handle it. But sadly, they destroy the crystal way too quickly. I really wish this had been at least a two-parter, so that we could see them struggle with the effects for longer and watch them try to overcome it. But as it is, it's the same as Island of Illusion. Good idea, meh execution. The last noteworthy episode of the season is the two-parter Return of an Old Friend. It's Parents' Day at Angel Grove, and we get a view of everybody's parents for some good smiles and laughs. Naturally, Rita wants to ruin their day and uses a monster to kidnap the parents of Angel Grove, with the plan to ransom them in exchange for the Rangers' surrender. Before making their demands, they ensnare Billy in the same mind control as she had done to Tommy before him, charging him with delivering the Dragon Dagger to her. Billy warps to the command center and takes the dagger. Meanwhile, the others just discovered that their parents are gone. The Rangers try to stop Billy from handing over the Dragon Dagger, but by the time they catch up to him, it's too late. Goldar attacks them with putties. As the Rangers fight with all their might to stop the putties and Goldar, Billy watches them as they get taken down one by one and snaps out of it a second too late as Goldar snatches the dagger. This is when Goldar gives the Rangers his ultimatum: hand over their power coins or they'll never see their parents again. Naturally, the Rangers try to fight back, but with Dragonzord under Goldar's command, they just can't do anything to stop him. They reluctantly hand over their power coins to Goldar, stripping them of their Ranger powers. Of course, Goldar turns on their deal and declares that he'll destroy the whole world, starting with their parents. While the Rangers lament the loss of their coins, Jason points out that they do still have one. They manage to temporarily recharge the green power coin and return Tommy into the fold as the Green Ranger. Goldar pushes Tommy to the limit, but he manages to reclaim the Dragon Dagger and the power coins. Backed against the wall, Rita sends her Drubbledozer to attack the Rangers. But safe to say, you know how this goes. Team is struggling, Tommy wakes up, morphs, Megazord explosion victory. The Power Rangers save the day! The parents are all freed from Rita's grip. Tommy, while having his power back, is told it's dangerous to morph unless absolutely necessary. With this, Tommy rejoins the cast for the next several episodes. It's honestly a really good episode. You really feel the pressure and tension as you watch Tommy struggle to fight, the desperation from the Rangers when they give up their coins. It's a great episode with lots of emotional weight, and hopefully a sign of better quality in the episodes to come. Spoiler alert, it absolutely is. Overall, the first season is probably the worst of this series for me. But even then, it has some spectacular moments that do make it worth watching. So I'll rate the first season with a 5 out of 10. The lows aren't terribly low, but the highs are sky high. But don't take all my negativity to mean that I don't like it. There's plenty of good here. It's just that I've seen better. And that's it for this video. Kind of a mid-tier start, not gonna lie, but it'll open the way for better things. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Check out my buddy Tyler Crux. He does a lot of fun stuff on his own channel. We collab all the time, and he's always a huge help in getting these months up and operational. Catch you later, nerds, and may the power protect you.